The silver chains burned against Elena's wrists, but not as badly as her father's refusal to meet her eyes. She watched him count the gold coins, his hands trembling as Alpha King Thorne's messenger stood silent in the corner of the Black Moon Pack auction house. Each clink of metal felt like a nail in a coffin. Her coffin. "Daddy, please." Her voice cracked. She hated how small she sounded. "Don't do this." Marcus Chen finally looked up. His face was gray, aged 10 years in the past month. "I don't have a choice, Elena. The debt was yours, not mine." She pulled against the chains, and the guard behind her tightened his grip. "You gambled it away. You lost it. Not me. The Alpha King doesn't care about details." Her father's voice was hollow. "He wants payment. It's you or my head. Be grateful he's willing to marry you instead of just taking you as a..." "Don't." Elena's eyes burned, but she wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of these people who'd watched her grow up and were now watching her be sold like cattle. "Don't pretend this is mercy." The messenger stepped forward, a tall man with kind eyes that didn't match his profession. "The cars are ready. We leave in 10 minutes. Her father pocketed the coins without another word. As he turned to go, Elena called out one last time. "Mom wouldn't have let this happen." He stopped. His shoulders sagged. "Your mother left us, Elena. She's been gone for 20 years. She doesn't get a say." Then he was gone, and Elena was alone with strangers who now owned her. The silver pendant around her neck, the only thing her mother had left behind, felt heavy against her skin. Elena touched it through her shirt, remembering the morning she'd woken to find her mother's side of the bed empty. Just the necklace on the pillow and a note that said, "Keep this safe. One day, you'll understand." She'd been 5 years old. She still didn't understand. "Miss Chen." The messenger's voice was gentle. "It's time." The drive to King Thorne's territory took 4 hours through forests that grew progressively darker, the trees twisting into shapes that looked almost human. Elena watched through the SUV's tinted windows as civilization fell away, replaced by wilderness that felt ancient and wrong. The other women in the pack used to whisper about the Alpha King. About how he'd gone through 3 mates in 5 years, each one found dead in his chambers, their throats torn out. About how he never smiled, never laughed, never showed mercy. They called him the Heartless King, and they said it with genuine fear. Elena had always figured the stories were exaggerated. Pack politics were messy, and people loved their gossip. Now, watching the dead gardens come into view as the castle loomed ahead, she wasn't so sure. The fortress was beautiful in a Gothic, haunted way, all dark stone and pointed towers that stabbed at the gray sky. But the gardens surrounding it were wrong. The plants weren't just dead. They looked like they'd never been alive, twisted sculptures of what gardens should be, frozen in permanent winter. "What happened here?" Elena asked. The messenger, Marcus, she'd learned his name was, glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "The king doesn't like beauty. Says it's a waste." "That's insane. That's survival." Marcus pulled up to the main entrance, where servants waited in perfect formation. "Listen, Miss Chen. Advice from someone who's been here a long time. Don't try to make him feel anything. Don't try to fix him. Don't try to understand him. Just stay quiet, stay out of his way, and you might make it through this." Elena's stomach twisted. "And if I don't?" Marcus's expression was answer enough. The servants dressed her in a white gown that felt like a burial shroud. They painted her face and arranged her hair, all in complete silence, as if speaking might shatter something fragile in the air. Elena caught one woman's eye, a middle-aged beta with gray streaking her dark hair. "How long have you worked here?" The woman's hands stilled in Elena's hair. 10 years, miss." "Have you seen the other mates? The ones who died?" Every servant in the room froze. The silence stretched so tight Elena thought it might snap. Finally, the gray-haired woman leaned close, her voice barely a whisper. I saw the second one. Pretty thing, like you. She tried to make him love her. She pulled back, her face carefully blank. 3 weeks later, she was dead. The king doesn't do love, miss. He can't. Before Elena could ask what that meant, Marcus appeared in the doorway. It's time. The throne room was cavernous and cold, lit by candles that cast more shadows than light. Pack members lined the walls, hundreds of them, all silent, all watching. At the far end, on a raised platform, stood Alpha King Thorne. Elena's breath caught. The rumors hadn't prepared her. He was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, tall and broad-shouldered, with black hair and features that could have been carved from marble. But it was his eyes that stopped her heart. Empty. Completely, utterly empty, like looking into a void. He watched her approach with no expression at all. No interest, no curiosity, nothing. Marcus led her up the steps. Up close, she could see the tension in Thorne's jaw, the way his hands were clenched at his sides as if holding himself back from something. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and when she got close enough, she felt the cold radiating from him like he was made of ice. The pack's elder began the ceremony, speaking words Elena didn't hear. Her heart was pounding too loud, drowning everything else out. This was happening. This was real. In minutes, she'd be bound to this man, this thing that looked human but felt like death. Your hand, Thorne said. It was the first time she'd heard his voice. Low and rough, like he rarely used it. Elena extended her hand, trying not to shake. When his fingers closed around hers, she gasped. His skin was ice cold. Literally. Like touching a corpse. But then something else happened. Heat flooded through her, not from him, from her pendant. It burned against her chest, sudden and intense, and Thorne's eyes went wide. He made a sound, something between a gasp and a groan, and staggered back. His hand was still locked around hers, but his face had transformed from blank to agonized. Black veins crawled up his neck, pulsing under his skin. What? Elena started. Let go, he snarled. The silver chains burned against Elena's wrists, but not as badly as her father's refusal to meet her eyes. She watched him count the gold coins, his hands trembling as Alpha King Thorne's messenger stood silent in the corner of the Black Moon Pack auction house. Each clink of metal felt like a nail in a coffin. Her coffin. Daddy, please. Her voice cracked. She hated how small she sounded. Don't do this. Marcus Chin finally looked up. His face was gray, aged 10 years in the past month. I don't have a choice, Elena. The debt was yours, not mine. She pulled against the chains, and the guard behind her tightened his grip. You gambled it away. You lost it. Not me. The Alpha King doesn't care about details. Her father's voice was hollow. He wants payment. It's you or my head. Be grateful he's willing to marry you instead of just taking you as a... Don't. Elena's eyes burned, but she wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of these people who'd watched her grow up and were now watching her be sold like cattle. Don't pretend this is mercy. The messenger stepped forward, a tall man with kind eyes that didn't match his profession. The cars are ready. We leave in 10 minutes. Her father pocketed the coins without another word. As he turned to go, Elena called out one last time. Mom wouldn't have let this happen. He stopped. His shoulders sagged. Your mother left us, Elena. She's been gone for 20 years. She doesn't get a say. Then he was gone, and Elena was alone with strangers who now owned her. The silver pendant around her neck, the only thing her mother had left behind, felt heavy against her skin. Elena touched it through her shirt, remembering the morning she'd woken to find her mother's side of the bed empty. Just the necklace on the pillow and a note that said, "Keep this safe. One day, you'll understand." She'd been 5 years old. She still didn't understand. Miss Chen. The messenger's voice was gentle. It's time. The drive to King Thorne's territory took 4 hours through forests that grew progressively darker, the trees twisting into shapes that looked almost human. Elena watched through the SUV's tinted windows as civilization fell away, replaced by wilderness that felt ancient and wrong. The other women in the pack used to whisper about the Alpha King. About how he'd gone through 3 mates in 5 years, each one found dead in his chambers, their throats torn out. About how he never smiled, never laughed, never showed mercy. They called him the Heartless King, and they said it with genuine fear. Elena had always figured the stories were exaggerated. Pack politics were messy, and people loved their gossip. Now, watching the dead gardens come into view as the castle loomed ahead, she wasn't so sure. The fortress was beautiful in a Gothic, haunted way, all dark stone and pointed towers that stabbed at the gray sky. But the gardens surrounding it were wrong. The plants weren't just dead. They looked like they'd never been alive, twisted sculptures of what gardens should be, frozen in permanent winter. What happened here? Elena asked. The messenger, Marcus, she'd learned his name was, glanced at her in the rearview mirror. The king doesn't like beauty. Says it's a waste. That's insane. That's survival. Marcus pulled up to the main entrance, where servants waited in perfect formation. Listen, Miss Chen. Advice from someone who's been here a long time. Don't try to make him feel anything. Don't try to fix him. Don't try to understand him. Just stay quiet, stay out of his way, and you might make it through this. Elena's stomach twisted. And if I don't? Marcus's expression was answer enough. The servants dressed her in a white gown that felt like a burial shroud. They painted her face and arranged her hair, all in complete silence, as if speaking might shatter something fragile in the air. Elena caught one woman's eye, a middle-aged beta with gray streaking her dark hair. How long have you worked here? The woman's hands stilled in Elena's hair. 10 years, miss. Have you seen the other mates? The ones who died? Every servant in the room froze. The silence stretched so tight Elena thought it might snap. Finally, the gray-haired woman leaned close, her voice barely a whisper. I saw the second one. Pretty thing, like you. She tried to make him love her. She pulled back, her face carefully blank. 3 weeks later, she was dead. The king doesn't do love, miss. He can't. Before Elena could ask what that meant, Marcus appeared in the doorway. It's time. The throne room was cavernous and cold, lit by candles that cast more shadows than light. Pack members lined the walls, hundreds of them, all silent, all watching. At the far end, on a raised platform, stood Alpha King Thorne. Elena's breath caught. The rumors hadn't prepared her. He was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, tall and broad-shouldered, with black hair and features that could have been carved from marble. But it was his eyes that stopped her heart. Empty. Completely, utterly empty, like looking into a void. He watched her approach with no expression at all. No interest, no curiosity, nothing. Marcus led her up the steps. Up close, she could see the tension in Thorne's jaw, the way his hands were clenched at his sides as if holding himself back from something. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and when she got close enough, she felt the cold radiating from him like he was made of ice. The pack's elder began the ceremony, speaking words Elena didn't hear. Her heart was pounding too loud, drowning everything else out. This was happening. This was real. In minutes, she'd be bound to this man, this thing that looked human but felt like death. Your hand, Thorne said. It was the first time she'd heard his voice. Low and rough, like he rarely used it. Elena extended her hand, trying not to shake. When his fingers closed around hers, she gasped. His skin was ice cold. Literally. Like touching a corpse. But then something else happened. Heat flooded through her, not from him, from her pendant. It burned against her chest, sudden and intense, and Thorne's eyes went wide. He made a sound, something between a gasp and a groan, and staggered back. His hand was still locked around hers, but his face had transformed from blank to agonized. Black veins crawled up his neck, pulsing under his skin. "What?" Elena started. "Let go," he snarled. She tried to pull away, but his grip was iron. The pack murmured, uneasy. Marcus stepped forward, but Thorne held up his free hand, stopping him. The Alpha King's eyes met Elena's, and for the first time, she saw something there. Pain. Terror. And beneath it all, something that might have been hope. "You're different," he whispered, his voice ragged. "You're going to destroy me." Then he released her hand and turned, striding out of the throne room without another word, leaving Elena standing alone in her wedding dress, the ceremony unfinished, the pack staring. Marcus appeared at her elbow, his face grim. "Well," he muttered. "That's a first. Congratulations, Queen Elena. You just became the only mate to survive the wedding ceremony. The real question is, will you survive the night?" Elena touched her pendant. It was still warm, still humming with energy she didn't understand. In the distance, she heard a howl, raw and broken and full of rage. Her husband. Her mate. Her jailer. And somehow, impossibly, the sound made her heart ache instead of fear. What had just happened? And why did her mother's pendant react to him like that? Elena had a terrible feeling she was about to find out. If you are enjoying this video, kindly do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 2. Elena sat on the edge of the massive bed, still wearing her wedding dress, and tried not to think about what was supposed to happen next. The king's chambers were as cold as the rest of the castle, all dark wood and stone, with a fireplace that hadn't been lit in what looked like years. Candles flickered on the mantel, casting shadows that moved like living things. Through the window, she could see the dead garden stretching into darkness. She'd been waiting for 3 hours. The servants had brought her here after the disastrous ceremony, their faces carefully blank. No one would meet her eyes. No one would answer her questions. They'd simply closed the door and left her alone with her racing heart and her mother's pendant, which had finally stopped burning against her skin. Elena touched it now, feeling the silver warm under her fingers. What had happened in the throne room? Why had Thorne reacted like that? And why did this necklace, the only thing her mother had left behind, seem to be at the center of it? The door slammed open. Elena jumped to her feet as Thorne stalked in, a bottle of whiskey in his hand. He looked different than he had during the ceremony, wilder, more dangerous. His shirt was unbuttoned, his hair disheveled, and his eyes were slightly unfocused. He was drunk. Very drunk. "You're still here," he said, his voice flat. "Where else would I be?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Smart women run." He took a long pull from the bottle. "But then, if you were smart, you wouldn't have let your father sell you." The words stung, but Elena lifted her chin. "I didn't have a choice. Everyone has choices." Thorne moved to the fireplace, keeping the width of the room between them. "You could have run. Could have fought. Could have done anything except stand there in chains like a lamb for slaughter." "I'm not a lamb," Elena said quietly. "And you're not the big bad wolf you pretend to be." His eyes snapped to hers, sharp despite the alcohol. Don't what? Don't try to figure me out. Don't try to see something that isn't there." He set the bottle down with a thunk. "I'm exactly what they say I am. Heartless. Cruel. Dangerous. 3 women learned that lesson the hard way." Elena's pulse quickened, but she stood her ground. "Did you kill them?" "Yes." The admission should have terrified her. Instead, she found herself taking a step forward. "Why?" "Stay back." Thorne's voice cracked like a whip. He held up a hand, and she saw it was shaking. "Don't come closer. Don't, just don't." "You married me," Elena said, taking another step. "You paid a fortune for me. You brought me here, to your chambers, on our wedding night. And now you won't even look at me properly." So either tell me why, or let me go. I can't let you go. Then tell me why. Because you'll die. The words exploded out of him. They all die, Elena. Every single one. And he stopped, his jaw clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping. I can't watch another one die because of me. Elena stared at him. There was something in his voice, not coldness, but agony. Raw, bleeding agony that he was desperately trying to hide. What happened in the throne room? She asked softly. When you touched me? Thorne turned away, grabbing the whiskey bottle again. Nothing. Forget it. It wasn't nothing. You looked like you were in pain. I'm always in pain. He spun back, and his eyes were blazing now, all that careful emptiness burned away by alcohol and exhaustion. That's the point. That's the whole goddamn point, and you're going to make it worse, and I can't. He stopped, breathing hard. Elena watched him struggle for control. Watched him rebuild those walls brick by brick. And something in her chest twisted, because she recognized that fight. She'd done it herself every day since her mother left, building walls to keep the hurt contained. I'm not afraid of you, she said. Thorne laughed, actually laughed, and it was such a startling sound that Elena blinked. It was bitter and broken, but it was genuine. Then he screamed. The sound was inhuman. Thorne doubled over, clutching his chest as those black veins erupted across his skin again, spreading like cracks in ice. The whiskey bottle shattered on the floor. He fell to his knees, clawing at his shirt, ripping it open. Elena ran to him without thinking. No. Thorne gasped, trying to push her away. Don't, it'll make it worse. But Elena had already wrapped her arms around him, pulling him against her. His skin was ice cold, burning her with cold instead of heat. The black veins pulsed under her hands, spreading up his neck, across his face. What's happening to you? She demanded. Thorne, talk to me. He was shaking in her arms, his whole body convulsing. Words came out broken, gasping. Cursed. Witch. 20 years ago. Can't feel anything good without. Another scream cut off his words. Elena held him tighter, and her pendant began to warm again. Without what? Pain, he managed. Every positive emotion is torture. Joy feels like broken glass in my veins. Hope is, he gagged, choking on the words. Love is acid. Burning me alive from the inside. Horror washed over Elena. That's impossible. I wish. Thorne's laugh was wet, desperate. I laughed. I laughed at you, and look what it does to me. The black veins were receding now, slowly, but his face was gray with pain. The witch who cursed me, Morgana, she wanted me to marry her. Merge our kingdoms. I refused. I was already in love with someone else. Elena's hands were shaking. What happened to her? The woman you loved? She died giving birth to our son. Thorne's voice was hollow now, all the fight gone out of him. They both died. I couldn't be there. Couldn't hold her hand. Couldn't comfort her. Because grief doesn't hurt me. Only the good things hurt. So I became this. Cold. Empty. Dead inside. It's the only way to survive. The other mates, Elena whispered. The ones you killed. Witches. He was slumped against her now, exhausted. All of them. Morgana sent them. They were supposed to create a mate bond with me, amplify my suffering. Make me beg for death. The first one, his voice cracked. The first one tried to force love. Tried to make me feel it. I killed her to make the pain stop. Same with the second and third. They weren't innocent. They were weapons. And I. He looked up at Elena, and his eyes were devastated. I'm not cruel. I'm not heartless. I'm already dead. I just haven't stopped breathing yet. Elena's throat was tight. Her pendant was warm now, almost hot, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Without thinking, she reached up to touch it. Your mother, Thorne said suddenly. You said she left when you were young. What was her name? I don't know. My father never talked about her. I just have this necklace and a memory of. Elena froze. She had dark hair. Green eyes. She used to sing to me in a language I didn't understand. Thorne had gone very still. Show me the pendant. Elena pulled it out from under her dress. It was glowing now, faintly, silver light pulsing from within the metal. The moment Thorne saw it, his face went white. No, he breathed. No, that's not possible. What? What is it? That's Morgana's crest. The witch who cursed me. That's her family seal. The pendant suddenly flared hot, so hot Elena cried out and tried to pull it off. But the chain wouldn't break. Light poured from it, filling the room, and a voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. Her mother's voice. He cannot break the curse without you, daughter. The words wrapped around Elena like smoke, familiar and foreign at once. But the price is your soul. Choose wisely. Choose quickly. Time is running out. The light died. The voice faded. Elena stood frozen, the pendant cooling against her skin, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Slowly, she looked down at Thorne. He was staring at her with something between horror and recognition. That voice, he whispered. I know that voice. He staggered to his feet, backing away from her. That's the witch who cursed me. Elena couldn't breathe. No. No, that's my mother. She's been gone for 20 years. She's probably dead. That's your mother. Thorne's voice was rising, edged with panic and rage. You're Morgana's daughter. You're her blood. He stopped, understanding dawning in his eyes. That's why you're different. That's why you burn when I touch you. You're not another weapon she sent. Then what am I? Elena's voice broke. Thorne looked at her with something like pity. You're the final curse. The words hung in the air between them like a death sentence. Outside, thunder rumbled. The dead garden seemed to lean closer to the windows, hungry and waiting. And Elena realized with terrible clarity that everything, her entire life, her father's debts, her sale to the Alpha King, had been orchestrated. Her mother hadn't abandoned her. She'd planted her. The question was, for what? If you are enjoying this video, kindly do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. Get out. Thorne's voice was cold, empty again, all that raw vulnerability locked away. He stood across the room from Elena, his shirt still torn open, the black veins fading from his skin like bruises. I didn't know, Elena said, her voice shaking. I swear to you, I didn't know who my mother was. I didn't know about any of this. It doesn't matter. He turned away, staring out the window at the dead gardens. You're here. You're hers. That's enough. I'm not hers. Elena's hands clenched into fists. She left me when I was 5 years old. I don't even remember her face. Just her voice, and that was the first time I've heard it in 20 years. I'm not whatever you think I am. You're a witch. Thorne's shoulders were rigid. Dormant or not, you have her blood. Her power. And now you're bound to me through marriage. Tell me, Elena, what happens when your powers wake up? What did Morgana design you to do to me? Elena's throat was tight. I don't have powers. I'm human. My father is human. I've never done anything magical in my life. Your pendant glows. Your touch burns me in a way no one else's does. And your mother, he stopped, his voice raw. Your mother just spoke through a 20-year-old curse to give you instructions. You're not human. You're just sleeping. The words settled over Elena like a shroud. She wanted to argue, to deny it, but deep down something resonated. All those times she'd felt different. All those moments when things happened around her that she couldn't explain, lights flickering when she was angry, plants dying when she touched them in her darkest moods. "Tell me the whole story," she said quietly. "Please. If I'm going to be damned for her sins, at least let me know what they are." Thorne was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice flat and distant, like he was reciting someone else's story. 22 years ago, Morgana came to my father's court. She was beautiful, powerful, and ambitious. She wanted to unite our territories through marriage, her coven's magic and our pack's strength. An alliance that would have made us unstoppable. He paused. My father was interested. I was next in line, 24 years old, and expected to do my duty. "But you didn't want to," Elena said softly. "I'd already met someone else." For the first time, his voice softened. "Sarah." She was human, a teacher in the nearest town. Gentle. Kind. Everything Morgana wasn't. I loved her. Really loved her. The kind of love that makes you want to be better. Elena's chest tightened. She could hear it in his voice, the ghost of who he used to be, before the curse hollowed him out. When I told Morgana I was marrying Sarah instead, she smiled. Thorne's laugh was bitter. She actually smiled and congratulated me. Said she understood. Then she attended the wedding and cursed me during the ceremony. Right there, in front of everyone, she laid it on me like a wedding gift. "The curse that makes you feel pain when you're happy," Elena whispered. She said, his voice caught. She said I'd chosen weak human love over power, so I'd suffer for it. Every moment of joy with Sarah would be agony. Every laugh would be broken glass in my veins. Love would burn me alive from the inside. He turned back to Elena, and his eyes were devastated. She made sure I couldn't be near Sarah without wanting to die. Couldn't hold her. Couldn't comfort her. Couldn't even tell her I loved her without collapsing. "But you stayed married to her." "For 3 years. 3 years of watching her from across the room, feeling my heart tear apart every time she smiled at me." And then, his hands clenched. "Then she got pregnant. I should have been happy. Should have been terrified. Should have felt something. But by then, I'd learned. Grief doesn't hurt me. Fear doesn't hurt me. Only the good emotions trigger the curse. So I became cold. Empty. It was the only way to survive." Elena felt tears on her cheeks. "She died in childbirth." "They both did." "Our son," Thorne's voice broke. "I never even held him. Never knew what he looked like. Because I couldn't feel grief without relief, and that relief that the pain might finally end was the most shameful thing I've ever experienced." The room was silent except for the wind outside. Elena wanted to go to him, to offer comfort, but she didn't know if she had the right. Not when her mother had done this to him. "The other 3 mates," she said. "The witches Morgana sent. They came one by one, over the years. Each one pretending to be something different, a refugee, a diplomat, a gift from an ally. But they all had the same goal. Create a mate bond, amplify the curse, break me completely. The first one almost succeeded. She forced the bond before I realized what she was, and the pain," he shuddered. "I killed her in self-defense. Killing doesn't hurt me either. It's not a positive emotion." Elena felt sick. "And everyone thinks you're a monster." "I am a monster. I've become exactly what Morgana wanted, cold, cruel, incapable of love. The perfect example of what happens when you choose wrong." He looked at Elena. "And now you're here. Her daughter. Her final play. What did she design you to do, Elena? Finish the job? Make me care again so she can watch me burn?" "I don't know." Elena's voice cracked. "I don't know what she wants. I don't even know who I am anymore. The door burst open. Marcus stood there, his face pale. My lord, we have a problem. 3 witches just breached the outer wards. They're demanding to see. His eyes landed on Elena. They're demanding to see Morgana's daughter. Thorne moved faster than Elena could track, positioning himself between her and the door. How did they get through the wards? They have Morgana's seal. Marcus's expression was grim. They say they're here to test the girl. To see if she's worthy of her legacy. Over my dead body. That can be arranged, a voice said from the hallway. 3 women stepped into the room, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. They were beautiful in a terrible way, ageless and sharp, with eyes that held too much knowledge. The one in the center smiled at Elena. Hello, sister. Mother sends her regards. Elena's blood went cold. I'm not your sister. I don't even know you. Not yet. But you will. The witch's eyes gleamed. First, we need to see if you're strong enough. If the human blood your father gave you has diluted the gift too much. Mother was quite disappointed when you didn't manifest powers as a child. She's hoping stress will trigger them now. Get out, Thorne snarled. Or I'll. You'll what? Kill us? The witch laughed. Please try. It's been so long since we've seen you in pain. She raised her hand, and Thorne screamed. It was worse than before. The black veins erupted across his entire body, spreading like wildfire. He collapsed, convulsing, clawing at his chest. And this time, Elena could see what was happening. The curse was being amplified, force-fed into him in waves. Stop it. Elena lunged forward, but one of the other witches caught her, holding her back with inhuman strength. Watch, the witch whispered in her ear. This is what happens to those who defy our mother. This is what happens when you choose wrong. Thorne's screams filled the room. Marcus tried to intervene, but a flick of the lead witch's wrist sent him flying into the wall. Blood poured from Thorne's nose, his ears. The black veins were so thick now they looked like cracks in porcelain, like his body was breaking apart from the inside. And something inside Elena broke too. Heat flooded through her, not from the pendant, but from somewhere deeper. From her blood, her bones, her very soul. It felt like fire and ice at once, like every cell in her body was waking up and screaming. Let him go, she said, and her voice didn't sound like her own. The witch holding her laughed. Make us, little half-breed. So Elena did. Power exploded out of her in a wave that shook the entire castle. The witch holding her flew backward, slamming into the wall hard enough to crack stone. Elena's hands were glowing now, silver light pouring from her palms, and she could feel it, all that dormant magic her mother had left in her blood, roaring to life. The lead witch's smile faltered. Impossible. You're untrained. You shouldn't be able to. Elena didn't let her finish. She threw out her hand and the witch screamed, silver fire consuming her from the inside out. The smell of burning flesh filled the room. The witch fell, dead before she hit the ground. The other 2 witches stared at Elena in horror. Run, Elena said quietly. Or I'll kill you too. They ran. Elena stood there, shaking, her hands still glowing, the dead witch's body smoking at her feet. The power was still coursing through her, wild and untamed, and she didn't know how to shut it off. Then she looked at Thorne. He was unconscious, pale as death, the black veins slowly receding. Elena dropped to her knees beside him, and the moment she touched his skin, her pendant flared hot again. The power in her hands flowed into him, and she watched the curse marks fade faster, watched color return to his face. Elena. Marcus was limping toward her, blood on his temple. What did you just do? I don't know. Her voice was shaking. I didn't mean to kill her. I just wanted them to stop hurting him. The prophecy, Marcus breathed. God help us, the prophecy is real. What prophecy? Marcus looked at her with something between awe and fear. The daughter of the witch shall break what the mother made, but the breaking requires becoming. He swallowed hard. To break Thorne's curse, you have to take it yourself. Willingly. Completely. And now that your powers are awake. It's possible, Elena finished. Her hands were still on Thorne's chest, feeling his heartbeat under her palms. Strong. Steady. Alive. The air shimmered, and a woman appeared before them. She was beautiful, dark hair, green eyes, ageless face. Elena recognized her from fragments of childhood memory, from dreams she'd thought were imagination. Mother, she whispered. Morgana smiled. Well done, daughter. I knew you had it in you. The power. The rage. The will to kill. She looked at Thorne's unconscious form. Now finish it. Kill him. Take his kingdom. Become what you were always meant to be, my perfect weapon, my perfect heir. Elena stared at her mother, at this woman who'd abandoned her, who'd engineered her entire life, who'd made her fall for a cursed man just to destroy him. No, she said. Morgana's smile didn't waver. You don't understand yet. But you will. This isn't a request, Elena. This is your destiny. Your purpose. Everything you are, everything you've ever been, was designed for this moment. She gestured to Thorne. He's dying anyway. The curse is eating him alive. You'd be doing him a mercy. Elena looked down at Thorne, at his scarred chest and peaceful face. She thought about his dead mate, his lost son, 20 years of agony disguised as heartlessness. And she realized with terrible clarity that she was falling for him. I said no, Elena repeated, and her voice was stronger now. I won't kill him. I won't be your weapon. And I'm going to break your curse. Then you're a fool, Morgana said softly. And you'll die screaming, just like all the others. The vision faded, but her mother's words lingered in the air like poison. Marcus helped Elena lift Thorne onto the bed. You can't break the curse, he said quietly. It'll kill you. The prophecy says you have to take it yourself, and you've seen what it does to him. You're half human. You'll never survive it. Elena looked at Thorne's face, at the man beneath the monster everyone feared. Maybe not, she said. But I have to try. Because the alternative, letting him suffer for the rest of his life, letting her mother win, was unthinkable. Even if it meant dying to save him. If you are enjoying this video, kindly do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. Elena didn't tell Thorne about Morgana's vision. For 3 days, she kept it locked inside, a secret that sat in her chest like a stone. She watched him recover from the witch's attack, watched the black veins fade and his strength return, and said nothing about her mother's command to kill him. But Thorne noticed something was wrong. You're not eating, he said on the second morning, watching her push food around her plate at breakfast. Elena forced a smile. I'm fine. Just tired. You're lying. His voice was gentle, which somehow made it worse. You've been different since the attack. Distant. What happened that you're not telling me? Nothing. She looked at him, at the concern in his eyes that she knew must hurt him to feel, and her throat tightened. I'm just trying to figure out what I am now. What these powers mean. It wasn't entirely a lie. Since killing that witch, Elena had felt the magic simmering under her skin like a second heartbeat. Sometimes her hands would glow without meaning to. Sometimes she'd hear whispers in a language she didn't know but somehow understood. She was becoming something other than human, and it terrified her. Thorne was quiet for a moment. Then he stood, extending his hand. Come with me. There's something I want to show you. Elena took his hand, and the now familiar jolt of heat passed between them. Thorne flinched slightly but didn't let go. He led her through the castle's winding corridors to a wing she hadn't explored yet, stopping before a heavy wooden door. No one comes here, he said, pulling out a key. Not even Marcus. The room beyond was frozen in time. A nursery, Elena realized with a pang. Painted in soft blues and yellows, with a crib in the corner and toys arranged on shelves. But everything was covered in dust, untouched for 20 years. Sarah decorated this herself, Thorne said quietly, moving to the window. She was so excited. Used to talk to him, our son, every night. Telling him about the world he'd be born into. The things we'd teach him. His voice cracked. I watched from the doorway. Couldn't come closer. Couldn't risk feeling too much joy and collapsing in front of her. Elena's eyes burned. On the dresser, she saw a photograph, a young woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, her hand on her pregnant belly. Beside it, a man who looked like Thorne but softer, lighter, actually smiling. You look happy there, she whispered. I was. For about 30 seconds, before the pain hit. Thorne touched the frame gently. That was the last photo taken before I stopped trying to feel anything at all. Elena moved to stand beside him. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to understand. He turned to face her, and his eyes were raw. I'm not good, Elena. I'm not worth saving. I've done terrible things to survive, killed people, pushed away everyone who tried to care, turned myself into exactly the monster Morgana wanted me to be. But you, he reached out, his hand hovering near her face but not quite touching. You make me want to try again. Even knowing it'll hurt. Even knowing I'll probably fail. Thorne. I know it's selfish. I know I have no right to ask anything of you. But these past few days, just having you here, watching you come into your power, his hand finally touched her cheek, and he gasped softly at the contact but didn't pull away. You make me remember what it felt like to be human. Elena's heart was hammering. It hurts you to feel this way. To want this. I don't care. His thumb traced her cheekbone. You're worth the pain. And then he kissed her. It was gentle at first, tentative, like he was afraid she'd break. But when Elena kissed him back, threading her fingers through his hair, he made a sound low in his throat and deepened it. She could feel him shaking, knew the curse was tearing through him, but he didn't stop. He kissed her like she was air and he was drowning, like she was the first good thing he'd felt in 20 years. When they finally broke apart, Thorne's face was pale and the black veins were creeping up his neck. But he was smiling, actually smiling, even as blood trickled from his nose. Worth it, he breathed. Definitely worth it. Elena touched his face, her magic flowing into him instinctively, easing the curse marks. You're insane. Probably. He leaned his forehead against hers. But for the first time in 2 decades, I don't want to be dead. That has to count for something. It counted for everything. And that's when Elena made her decision. She waited until Thorne was asleep that night before slipping out of bed. The pendant around her neck had been warm since the kiss, pulsing with energy. When she held it up to the candlelight, words appeared on its surface, words in that strange language she was starting to understand. Instructions. A ritual. A way to break the curse. Elena's hands shook as she read. The spell required a willing sacrifice during the blood moon, which was 3 days away. The curse would transfer from Thorne to her, breaking Morgana's hold on him. All Elena had to do was speak the words, make the cuts, and accept the burden. She'd die, probably. The prophecy Marcus mentioned said the breaking required becoming, and she was only half witch. But Thorne would be free. He could laugh without screaming. Could love without agony. Could finally rest. It was worth it. Elena copied the ritual into a notebook, her newly awakened magic helping her remember every symbol, every word. Then she began the preparations. The first stage required cutting ties with her humanity, a small ritual that would make her more witch than human, strong enough to survive the transfer. At least temporarily. She should have known it wouldn't be that simple. The moment Elena completed the first ritual, speaking the words over a small fire in the bathroom, pain lanced through her chest. Not physical pain, but something deeper. She felt her human warmth draining away, replaced by something colder, sharper, more powerful. And when she returned to bed and Thorne sleepily pulled her close, she felt it, a spike of joy at his touch, followed immediately by a stab of pain. Oh no. The curse was already starting to transfer. Just enough to hurt her, not enough to ease his suffering. Elena bit her lip to keep from crying out, but Thorne stirred anyway. Elena? His voice was rough with sleep. You okay? Fine, she managed. Just a bad dream. But over the next 2 days, it got harder to hide. Every smile hurt. Every moment of happiness sent shards of pain through her veins. She started flinching when Thorne touched her, wincing when Marcus told a joke at dinner, biting back gasps when she looked at Thorne and felt that dangerous warmth in her chest. She was falling in love with him, and it was killing her. On the 3rd day, Thorne cornered her in the library. What did you do? His voice was deadly quiet. Elena looked up from the book she'd been pretending to read. What? Don't lie to me. I've seen you flinching. Watched you turn away when you're happy. You're experiencing the curse, aren't you? He grabbed her shoulders, his eyes wild. What the hell did you do, Elena? I'm trying to save you. The words burst out of her. I found the ritual. I can break the curse, transfer it to myself. You'll be free. Are you insane? Thorne's hands tightened on her shoulders. It'll kill you. You're half human. The curse will tear you apart in days, maybe hours. I've survived 20 years because I'm a full-blooded alpha. You don't have that strength. I have to try. No. His voice cracked. No, I won't let you die for me. I'd rather suffer for another century than watch you. He stopped, his jaw clenched. I can't lose someone else, Elena. I can't watch someone else die because of this curse. Not again. Not you. And I can't watch you suffer. Elena's eyes were burning. You think I don't see it? How hard it is for you to smile. To be near me? You're in pain every moment we're together, and it's getting worse because, she stopped, but the words hung between them anyway. Because we're falling in love. I don't care, Thorne said fiercely. Let it hurt. Let it kill me. But don't you dare sacrifice yourself for me. You're not just some weapon your mother planted. You're you. And his voice broke. You're the first thing I've cared about in 20 years. I won't let you die. You don't get to make that choice, Elena said softly. It's my life. My decision. The hell it is. The windows exploded inward. Glass rained down as figures poured into the room, 6, 8, 10 witches, all wearing Morgana's crest. And in the center, walking through the shattered window like she owned the castle, was Morgana herself. She looked exactly like her vision, but worse. More real. More terrible. Power radiated from her in waves that made Elena's newly awakened magic recoil. Oh, this is perfect, Morgana purred, looking between Elena and Thorne. Right on schedule. Tell me, daughter, have you completed the first ritual? Started the transfer? Elena's blood went cold. Morgana laughed. Of course you have. I knew you would. So predictable, just like your father. Always trying to save everyone. She circled them like a predator. Did you really think I wanted you to kill Thorne? That was never the plan. Far too simple. Then what? Elena started. Control. Morgana's eyes gleamed. You see, a curse taken willingly can be controlled by the one who cast it. Once you complete the transfer during the blood moon tonight, you'll have the full curse. And you'll be mine to command. She gestured to Thorne. And through the mate bond you're building with him, I'll control the Alpha King himself. His pack. His kingdom. Everything I was denied 20 years ago. Thorne stepped in front of Elena, his body rigid. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. Morgana's smile was cold. But why kill you when I can make you watch? Watch your new mate slaughter your pack under my command. Watch her destroy everything you love while you're powerless to stop her. That's so much more poetic, don't you think? The witches moved forward, forming a circle around them. Elena felt her magic rising, but it was nothing compared to Morgana's power. Nothing compared to a full coven. You have a choice, Alpha King, Morgana said softly. Kill Elena now, before she completes the ritual. Or watch me use her to burn your world to ash. Either way, you lose. Either way, you suffer. Just like I promised 20 years ago. Thorne's hand found Elena's, squeezing tight. There's always a third option, he said, his voice steady despite the terror in his eyes. We fight. Morgana laughed. With what? Your curse-ridden body? Her half-trained powers? Oh, this will be entertaining. She raised her hand, and the blood moon rose outside the shattered windows, bathing everything in red light. The final ritual had begun. If you are enjoying this video, kindly do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. Thorne's hand was on Elena's throat before she could blink. Not squeezing, just resting there, his palm against her pulse. His eyes were agonized, desperate. Tell me there's another way, he whispered. Tell me I don't have to choose between killing you and losing everything. Elena could feel the curse burning through her veins now, the first ritual having opened the door. Every beat of her heart sent pain rippling outward. Every breath hurt. And the love she felt for this broken man, it was acid in her chest, beautiful and excruciating. There isn't, she managed. Not unless. Unless I die, Morgana finished, her voice amused. But we both know that's not an option. Tell them, daughter. Tell them what happens if I die. Elena's throat was tight. There's a blood bond. Between mother and child. It's a failsafe, if she dies, I die too. Thorne's hand dropped from her throat like he'd been burned. No. No, there has to be another way. There isn't. Morgana moved closer, her coven forming a protective circle around her. The only way to break the curse without the transfer is to kill me. But killing me kills Elena. So you see, Alpha King, you're trapped. Just like I promised. You can kill your mate and stay cursed, or let me control her and watch her destroy everything you love. Either way, she smiled. I win. The blood moon's light made everything look like it was drowning in red. Elena could feel the ritual pulling at her, the curse wanting to complete its transfer. In minutes, maybe seconds, it would be too late. She'd be fully cursed, fully under Morgana's control. She looked at Thorne, at the devastation in his eyes, and made her choice. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then she spoke the final words of the ritual. Power exploded through her like lightning. The curse slammed into her full force, 20 years of accumulated agony transferring in a single moment. Elena screamed, her body arcing backward as black veins erupted across her skin, spreading like wildfire. Every positive emotion she'd ever felt became torture. Every moment of happiness was broken glass. And the love she felt for Thorne. It was pure acid, burning her alive from the inside. Elena. Thorne lunged for her, but Morgana's coven held him back with magic, pinning him in place. Perfect, Morgana purred, approaching Elena's convulsing form. Now, daughter, let me in. Let me take control and wheel. Elena's eyes snapped open, glowing silver. No, she gasped. You made one mistake, mother. You never felt real love. You don't know how strong it is. And she turned the curse into a weapon. Every ounce of love she felt for Thorne, all that beautiful, agonizing emotion, she channeled it backward through the blood bond to Morgana. The curse, amplified by true love, by willing sacrifice, by everything Morgana had never understood, poured through their connection like poison in reverse. Morgana screamed. Impossible. She staggered back, clawing at her chest as black veins appeared on her skin. "You can't, the bond doesn't work that way." "You taught me magic," Elena said, her voice distorted by pain and power. "But you never taught me love. That's the difference between us." The Coven attacked then, desperate to save their leader. Spells flew through the air, aimed at Elena's vulnerable form. But Thorne transformed. Elena had never seen his true alpha form. He was massive, terrifying, all muscle and fury and power that had been leashed for 2 decades. The curse that had been holding him back was gone, transferred to Elena, and for the first time in 20 years he could fight without restraint. He tore through 3 witches before they could blink. The door burst open and Marcus charged in with a dozen pack warriors. The library became a battlefield, wolves against witches, teeth and claws against magic and fire. But Elena couldn't focus on that. All her concentration was on holding the connection to Morgana, on pushing every bit of love and pain and hope through that blood bond until her mother felt what she'd felt. What Thorne had felt. What it meant to suffer for caring. "Stop." Morgana was on her knees now, blood pouring from her nose. "Stop, please, I'll release the curse, I'll leave you alone." "You cursed an innocent man because he chose love over power," Elena said, tears streaming down her face. "You engineered my entire life to be your weapon. You don't get mercy." But the curse was killing her too. She could feel it, her human body wasn't strong enough to contain this much dark magic. The black veins were spreading, and her vision was going dark at the edges. Worth it, she thought. If Thorne can be free, it's worth it. "Elena, let go." Marcus was suddenly beside her, his hands on her shoulders. "You're dying. The curse is too strong." "I know," she gasped. "But if I let go, Morgana wins. She'll. There's another way." Marcus's voice was urgent. "The blood bond, it's diluted. Your father was human. You're not pure witch. The bond isn't as strong as Morgana thinks." Elena stared at him. "What are you saying?" "You can survive her death. But you'll lose your magic. All of it. Permanently." His eyes were desperate. "You have to sever the bond yourself, from your end. Use your magic to cut the connection, and she dies. But so does your power." Elena looked across the battle-torn room at Thorne. He was protecting her, keeping the remaining witches away, but he kept glancing back at her with terror in his eyes. Terror he could finally feel without punishment. She thought about the magic thrumming through her veins. The power that made her special, that connected her to her mother, that made her more than human. Then she thought about Thorne's smile. About kissing him without causing him pain. About a life where they could be happy without suffering. "I'd rather be human with you than powerful without you," she whispered. And she severed the bond. It felt like cutting off a limb. Elena's magic screamed as she tore through the connection linking her to Morgana, using every bit of power she had to break what should have been unbreakable. The pendant around her neck shattered. Silver light exploded from her chest. Morgana shrieked, a sound of pure rage and disbelief, and then she simply dissolved. Turned to ash. The blood bond broken, the curse's anchor gone, there was nothing left to hold her together. The remaining coven members fled, abandoning their dead leader. And Elena collapsed. The curse was gone. The magic was gone. She was hollow, empty, fully human for the first time in her life. The black veins were fading from her skin, and the pain. The pain was finally gone. "Elena." Thorne was there, gathering her into his arms. His hands were shaking. "Elena, stay with me. Please. Please don't leave me." She wanted to tell him she was okay, but the world was going dark. The last thing she felt was his lips on her forehead, and the warm wetness of his tears on her face. Tears he could finally cry without agony. Elena woke to sunlight. Real sunlight, not the sickly gray that had filtered through the castle windows before. It was warm on her face, and for a moment she just lay there, feeling it. feeling alive. You're awake. She turned her head to find Thorne sitting beside the bed, his hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. How long? Her voice was raspy. 3 days. You've been unconscious for 3 days. His hand found hers, squeezing gently. I was starting to think, his voice broke. I thought I'd lost you. Elena squeezed back. I'm okay. The curse. Gone. For both of us. Thorne's smile was tentative, beautiful. I can feel things again, Elena. Real things. I was terrified watching you sleep. I was hopeful every time you stirred. And it didn't hurt. Not even a little. Tears pricked Elena's eyes. Your magic. Gone too. I can feel it, you're completely human now. He touched her face gently. Are you okay with that? Giving up all that power? Elena thought about it. About the magic that had thrummed through her veins, the connection to her mother's legacy, the potential for power she'd barely begun to explore. Then she looked at Thorne's face, at the life finally returning to his eyes. I'm more than okay with it, she said. I never wanted to be like her anyway. Thorne's expression softened. Marcus told me what you did. How you used the curse itself as a weapon. How you chose to lose your magic to save me. His thumb traced her cheekbone. Why? You barely knew me. I'm not worth. Yes, you are. Elena caught his hand, holding it against her face. You're worth everything. And I didn't just save you, Thorne. You saved me too. From becoming what my mother wanted. From being alone. From thinking I was broken. She smiled. We saved each other from becoming our parents. Something in Thorne's expression cracked open. For the first time, Elena saw him truly vulnerable. No walls, no defenses, just raw emotion he could finally let himself feel. I loved Sarah, he said quietly. I loved her so much it destroyed me when she died. For 20 years, I've been terrified of feeling that way again. Terrified of losing someone else. He leaned his forehead against hers. But I'm more terrified of not taking this chance. Of not telling you that he took a shaky breath. I'm falling in love with you, Elena. Maybe I already have. And it doesn't hurt anymore. It just feels. Right, Elena finished, her heart full. Yeah. He smiled, and it transformed his whole face. Right. They kissed, and it was nothing like before. No pain, no curse, no schemes. Just two people who'd been through hell choosing each other anyway. Choosing happiness after suffering. Choosing life after surviving. When they finally broke apart, Thorne helped Elena to the window. Outside, the gardens were changing. The dead plants were being cleared away, and servants were planting new flowers. Life returning to a place that had been frozen in death for 2 decades. I can grieve them properly now, Thorne said softly. Sarah and our son. I can remember the good things without the pain. I can, his voice caught. I can finally let them go. Elena leaned against him. They'd be happy for you. For this. I think they would. He wrapped his arms around her, and Elena felt safe for the first time in her life. What do we do now? We live, Elena said simply. We figure out who we are without curses and magic and prophecies. We just live. Together. Together. They stood there watching the sunrise paint the gardens gold, two broken people who'd chosen to heal each other instead of letting their damage define them. Thorne pressed a kiss to her temple, and she felt him smile against her skin. You know what the pack is calling you, he murmured. The woman who gave the Heartless king his heart back. Elena laughed. Is that what happened? Yeah. His arms tightened around her. You saved me from my curse. From myself. From becoming the monster I was turning into. No, Elena said, turning in his arms to face him. We saved each other. That's what love does. Thorne's eyes were bright. Love? Love, Elena confirmed. The real kind. The kind my mother never understood. The kind that makes you stronger, not weaker. He kissed her again, and this time it felt like pure joy. No pain. No fear. Just happiness so bright it almost hurt, but in the best possible way. When they finally pulled apart, Thorne was grinning. Actually grinning. The Heartless King finally has a heart again, he said. Elena touched his face, tracing the laugh lines that were starting to form, the light finally returning to his eyes. Good, she said, smiling back. Because I'm planning to steal it. Too late, Thorne whispered against her lips. It's already yours. And as the sun rose over the healing gardens, Elena knew they were finally, truly free. Not because a curse was broken. But because they'd chosen love over power, healing over revenge, and each other over everything else. That was the real magic. And it didn't hurt at all. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Drop your thoughts in the comments section and share this video to family and friends. The end.